So, I want to start off by saying welcome back to the channel, and if you're new here, welcome. If you're a fanatic of everything entertainment, then this is the channel for you. But in today's movie review, we'll be talking about 1985's A Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2, Freddy's Revenge. So let's get into it.
Hi, I'm Chucky. Wanna play?
Fuck you!
Jason, Mother is talking to you!
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
So, I'm going to make the same joke I made 7 years ago, but it honestly confuses me. What the hell is Freddy getting revenge for? I have no idea. But before we get into it, I just want to know. But before we get into it, just know that with all these leading up to New Nightmare, I'll be talking about each and every one of these movies, the video and audio quality. So I'm just doing it to give back to the people that just subbed as of recent. So, really quickly, I'm going to be talking about the video and audio. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I think this one looks a lot better than the first. The first is still pretty solid on 4K, but this one, there's a lot more daytime scenes in here and a lot more close ups and a lot of things that make this film age better and sometimes age worse because you can see certain things. But the 4K video of this film, fantastic. Like this and part three has to be my favorites in this box set. But yeah, and then with the audio, once again, I have to state I listen to everything through my TV speakers. I don't even have a sound bar or any setup whatsoever, which honestly sucks. But this stayed in line with my 50 to 60 range. My TV goes up to 100. This sat perfectly right there, at the 50 to 60 range, and that's normal for me when I'm watching a movie. Sometimes when I'm gaming, I go a little bit lower, but with this, it sounded great. You know what I'm saying? Nice and crisp. And then, really quickly, here are the special features. There's not as much as the first film. There's only like 4 special features here, which still, I'm a fan of all of these. As a physical media whore, of course, I love my special features. I wish this one had as much as the last one, but I'm okay with what we got. You know what I'm saying? Because there's still 5 more movies in this box set, and there ain't no telling what those special features are going to look like on each film. So really excited for it. Not as satisfied as with the first film, but I'm still satisfied nonetheless because I did have the DVDs as a teenager, and there wasn't really any special features on there. So I'll take 4 more than 0. You know what I'm saying? But the last thing I want to show you guys before I get into the movie review itself, um, is this. I got this off Facebook Marketplace. This is the 1985 VHS, and I can't wait to rewatch this, or I can't wait to watch this because I've never seen this movie on VHS, and it does come in this clamshell. Like in the pictures, I couldn't tell that it was a clamshell, where you open it up. So you open that up, and I know that this is not the original box because you can see, like, right there a little bit and on the other side that someone cut this in half and put it in this, but I'm okay with it. This is like the second most expensive VHS that I've ever bought. The first one being Terrifier 2. I got this at Walmart for 30, and I bought it because when the hell am I ever going to see a VHS at Walmart ever again? You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, this is what the VHS looks like. I don't know if Movies was a store or what. I'm gonna have to look that up later, because I haven't been to a video rental store in a few years. There's one in Atlanta, but yeah, I don't know if that one does VHS. It's been a while since I've been there. I don't think they do, but still, like, this is pretty nostalgic to have this, even though I've never had any of these movies on VHS except for the first and fifth, and I hate that I gave it away, but I'm going to be getting them again sometime soon. But, anyways, I'm rambling on way too much. So, with that, let's move on to the things that I did like about this movie. And the first thing I want to bring up is the opening sequence in here, Jesse's nightmare. And the whole scene with the bus. I really love it. There's a lot of great practical effects and miniatures in use, and I'm a big fan of it. Like, anytime there's miniatures used, I'm a fan of it. Like Three Stooges, it was like Three Stooges for me that started the craze where I love scenes with miniatures, like in Beetlejuice or so many other movies that use them, and this one does it too with the bus. It looks fantastic. I know it might look cheesy, but I love it. And then the score that goes with this opening scene is like very heavy Jaws esque, in my opinion. I turned to my significant other and I was like, that sounds very Jaws. And I'm not mad about it. Like, I like the score better in this one than I do the first, even though the first is more iconic. Speaking of Freddy, right? Freddy's makeup in here, terrifying. I love Freddy in this movie. This is like one of my favorite interpretations of Freddy Krueger. This is absolutely the darkest and scariest interpretation of Freddy Krueger. And There's so many iconic imagery shots with him in his face, like at the pool scene. There's just so many scenes in here where he absolutely terrifies me, and I love it. When talking about this movie, you can't not bring up that this is the gayest horror movie ever made. And I love it. This is one of my favorites in the franchise. This movie, like, absolutely awoken something in me the other day watching it for the first time in 7 years and, being proud of who I am nowadays. So, this movie absolutely means a lot to me. I know I watched a video, a few weeks ago. Someone was complaining about the message in here. A lot of people didn't see it back then, but it's very in your face when you rewatch it. If that bothers some people, then so be it. But I absolutely love it, and I love what it's done for the community. I love what it's done for horror fans that's in the community. So like, there's no complaints for me. And then speaking of Jesse, our main lead, he is absolutely a scream king. I know he came out with Scream Queen, My Nightmare on Elm Street, like 6, 7 years ago, and I did a review on that. I don't know if it's still up on the channel or not, but his scream is better than some chicks that I've seen in 80s and 90s horror films, like the final girls when they're screaming. He has like one of the best screams in the franchise, if not the best in the franchise, which is absolutely saying something, and I love it. Speaking of Jesse, Mark Patton, he's in all our thoughts and prayers. I don't pray much, but I don't know, just the things that he's going through, I absolutely hate it because if it wasn't for him and his character, so many people in the community wouldn't have like gotten their strength to talk about it. You know what I'm saying? So just know, Mark, that we're all thinking about you. We all love you. And another thing, I love the iconic imagery in here. This one has like some iconic imagery in this one as well, just like in the first. Particularly like the pool scene. The pool scene is so iconic to me, and then at the pool, him saying, "You are all my children now." That's one of the best one-liners in the whole series, and so is the "You got the body, I got the brains" part, and then him coming out of Jesse's body. There's just so much iconic imagery, and the opening in here, I love that as well. There's just as much iconic imagery in this film than there is the first. And then I love the cast and characters in here. I already touched upon Jesse, played by Mark Patton. He is one of my favorite final guys of all time. He's one of my favorite protagonists in the series. And then I don't know what you would call it, his love interest, Kim Myers, that looks, everyone brings this up. She looks like Meryl Streep, okay? That's probably one of the reasons why she got this job. Um, she's great in here as well. She's like very concerned about Jesse. And at the end, it's more of a, even though she really likes him, in a romantic way, at the end, they're just friends and she loves him as a friend. That's absolutely beautiful. And then, like his potential boyfriend in here, they come off as enemies at first and he's a bit of a dickhead, but. There's something going on there, and I wish that he didn't die in here. Like they could have gone off and been a couple or worked themselves out. I would have absolutely loved that. And then the dad in here, he's the dude from Return of the Living Dead, which I didn't know that until like I was watching. I'm like, he looks familiar, and I was like, oh yeah, he's in Freddy's Revenge. So like, there's just so many casting characters in here that I'm a fan of. And then the coach in here, he's a familiar face. I've seen him in multiple things. I just can't put my finger on it right now. But his death is one of the funniest because he gets slapped by balls and a towel. So, like I said, gayest horror movie ever made, and that's not a negative. I do like that this movie does still stay in continuity and they bring up Nancy and Freddy Krueger killing 20 children. There are things that they do differently, and we're going to talk about that later, but I still like that it's in continuity, even though it's 5 years later, and Jesse and his family move into Nancy's house. And speaking of where he took the 20 kids that he murdered, um, absolutely love the setting because it's the same place that they shot Terminator 2, and there's like certain scenes in here where I'm like, Terminator 2. I recognize that. So I love that they shot this here before T2. No, there's like something else that they shot at that same location, but I forgot what it was. But it's just an iconic setting overall. And then the practical effects in here, like I said, Freddy is absolutely the craziest and scariest that I've ever seen him thus far. He is the darkest that we've ever got. Such a big fan of his look. It is just so scary. And then like the whole part where he's peeling back his brains, that looks awesome. And then him coming out of Jesse's chest. Yes, it looks a little bit goofy now, but I love it. And then whenever you see Jesse's mouth open, you see Freddy's eyeball. I love that effect too. There's just so many things I love in here with practical effects, except for one, and we'll get into that later. There's something I want to bring up. I don't know if it's in a positive or not, but there's a sound effect that is used in 1985 or 1986's Legend with Tom Cruise. It's that horse weighing or whining. Absolutely recognize that. I forgot that this was in here, and I was like, "What the shit? That sounds just like in Legend when the horse is like running or the unicorn's running." And one of the last things I want to bring up is the pool scene in here. It's absolutely crazy. It's one of my favorite scenes in the whole franchise, even though it does go against the first movie. And like I said, we'll get into that later. But I just love that scene. You know, whenever he just jumps out and all that, it's absolutely crazy. And it's a high body count there, even though it doesn't really show much. He's just like swiping at people, but still high body count. So I'll take it. And speaking of the pool scene, there's a character in here, a blonde chick. I might put a picture up on screen, but if not, go back and watch the movie. If you've seen Pumpkinhead, you know this chick. Like it's the blonde chick in Pumpkinhead, and she's in here. I don't remember if she has a line of dialogue or not. If she does, it's very minuscule. But she's in here, and I forgot she was in here. I was like, oh shit, she's in here. I've seen this movie twice beforehand. Never put two and two together until like the other day. It's weird, I know. And then the last thing I want to bring up in the positives is I think this movie has a better ending or sting than that of the first movie, where you have Jesse and his potential girlfriend are now best friend, and then her friend. They're on the bus. You know, I like that it comes full circle where it starts on a bus, ends with a bus. And then her friend's like, everything's gonna be okay. And then Freddy's arm just comes out of her chest and it looks absolutely awesome. I love it. I think it's a better sting than that of the first film. That's one of my main negatives of the first film, anyways. But yeah, I absolutely love the ending to this one. And with that, let's move on to the things that I'm mixed on with this movie. This movie does break some rules of that of the first movie, where, you know, he's now wanting to possess somebody, which is something he's never done before. um, he sort of does that with Dream Child, where he tries to take over the kid's dreams. Um, but never again has he absolutely tried to actually possess a living person. And there's just some things that don't make sense, like the parakeet scene, the coffee machine being unplugged but it's still working, or it caught fire or whatever. The pool party, you know, Jesse's not even dreaming then, I don't think. You never really know for the most part, or half the time, when someone's dreaming in this movie, anyways. So I am very mixed on that, but like I said, I love the pool scene, so that gets a pass, even though it does break the rules of the first film. But I will say, this is the second film in a franchise. I think it's like, you know, more deceiving if they did it in like part six or seven where they changed the rules. You know what I'm saying? So if it's the second one and they change some things, that's all fine and dandy. But if you wait like 6 to 8 movies, then yeah, it might piss some people off. That's why it's in the mix for me. It used to be in the negatives, but not anymore. But speaking of which, let's move on to the things that I didn't like about this movie. And the parakeet scene. What was that? I never liked it to begin with. I don't like it now. It doesn't make sense. It's very stupid, even though it is very laughable. You know, you get a few beers in, it's a fun time with that scene, but it's still overall, it just doesn't make sense. It's one of the stupidest scenes in the franchise. Um, I don't know. I don't know. Even the visuals and everything and how cheesy it is. I love 80s cheese, but that was not it. And I know that I said that I loved the practical effects in here, except for one scene, and that being the dogs with the human heads. What was that, dude? Like, no. Like, my significant other saw it, and she's like, I'm about to tap out of this movie. I'm like, no, please. It's a great movie, please. But yeah, like, the practical effects thus far, up until that point, were fantastic. Maybe a little cheesy at times, but still great overall. Then you get into that, and it's literally dogs wearing human face masks. Weird. And then the last thing I want to bring up, it is funny. You know, I could put it in the mix next time, and I was thinking about putting it in the mix now, but the whole ending before the stinger, the whole, yeah, she gets Jesse back by the power of love. Now, it's not a romantic love, it's like a friendship love at the end of the day. But I just think the whole idea of that, like her kissing Freddy or Jesse, whatever, It's a little stupid, one of the weakest ways that he's ever gone out. But I will say there is a awesome Raiders of the Lost Ark reference where Freddy's face is melting after she kisses him, and then Jesse comes out of Freddy's body. That was a great visual. It's just the fact that like I think it's more because of the way Freddy acted it at the end of this. So menacing and scary and terrifying. And at the end, he's like a little bitch. What? That's not the Freddy Krueger that we all know and love. But yeah, still overall, still pretty positive on Freddy in here. It's just that last part where he's about to start crying or whatever, and he's like scared, and I'm like, no, please, no. But this is one of my favorites in the franchise, and yes, I'm gonna say something very sacrilege, but I like this movie better than the first one. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. This movie is absolutely great. I know I went on with certain things in the mix and negatives, but those are very minuscule to me, even though some of them are pretty stupid, which is why I'm going to be giving 1985's A Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2 Freddy's Revenge an overall grade of a 90%. Yeah, what can I say? This is like a big flip flop from what I used to think about this. Originally, when I reviewed this series like 7 years ago, I gave it like a 6.75, which is basically like a 67 or 68%. So to go from that to a 90, yes. Let me know in the comments below what you think about this movie. Do you prefer it over the first film or not? Because I know it's still a little bit underrated. This movie is now 40 years old and it still holds up for me, and the messaging behind it as well has helped so many out. So that's why I love this movie. You know, I can rewatch this one endlessly, just like the next one. But yeah, let me know in the comments below what you think about this movie. And as always, I just want to say thank you for watching my videos and hope to see you in the next one.